Good morning. It is about 5:20 in the morning. It's a bit of an early start, even for me. I'm normally not getting out of bed until about 5:30 to get on the rowing machine, but today I'm not doing that because it's a Saturday. Got a shoot this afternoon with a pretty good looking model in terms of her work looks pretty good, so I'm quite excited to be working with her. As I am with every model, if I'm honest, I'm always excited to go and shoot. So we're going to a place called Holly Hill in Fareham to do a shoot. So it is going to be lunchtime on a Saturday on the only nice day predicted this weekend. So it's probably going to be quite busy. So it's going to be one of those flash and dash kind of things, I think. But either way, looking forward to getting stuck in and getting some nice photos. So yeah, should be good fun. So I'm just making sure that I've got everything I need in my camera bag. I have a battery pack here in case I need to charge the GoPro on the move. Don't need the HDMI cable. Got my flash. Got the 70 to 200. Got the 85. Got my flash modifier kit. Got some spare batteries and a lens cleaner pen just there. Obviously, the most important thing, got the camera. I'm gonna organize all that in a minute. And of course, spare batteries. So I've got one and another one. There we go. So 2 spare batteries. That means I don't have to take a charger with me in case of any panic needed. I don't need a spare body or anything like that, so that's basically all I need to take. In the front of the bag, I've got my pop-up light reflector, so I think that's all I need, to be honest. So just on my way to go and pick up Louise, the model. Should be a pretty good shoot. It's very, very sunny, so this will be a interesting one because we're going to a woodland country park, so there should be plenty of trees and things to shelter under, presuming that they are accessible. Woodland country park can mean any number of things these days, including one of those places where everything's kind of cordoned off, so you can only walk on the footpath. So we'll have to see how that goes once we get there, because I have never been there before. So this is a bit of a new one for me. So yeah, normally obviously if I were doing a shoot like this professionally, it would be scouted. I would have gone to the location and had a look around, but this is a weekend warrior kind of thing where I am shooting TF. I work Monday to Friday, so just have to kind of go with the flow, but that's kind of how I roll anyway, so fingers crossed we will get some good shots. I do remember back when I was first getting into photography, I'm going to turn that down a bit and turn the AC on a little bit just to, there we go. I remember when I first got into photography seriously. I mean, I've been into it my whole life, but when I started, when I bought my first DSLR and started getting heavily into taking photographs, I spent a lot of time on YouTube or Vimeo, as that was then popular, and Dailymotion was popular back then as well. Watching videos of photographers giving tips on various different aspects of photography. It wasn't until later on in my career, my photography hobby, as it now is, not career, did I realise that 90% of what was in those videos, and still to this day, and 90% of the stuff that you're going to see on YouTube is utter bollocks. There's a reason why you've never heard of most of the photographers that you watch on YouTube, and that's because busy photographers don't have time to cultivate a large following on social media. So if you're looking at a photography channel that's got millions and millions of subscribers, the chances are they're probably not out shooting very much, because to cultivate that size of a following on YouTube or any social media platform it's a full-time job or more. It takes an army of people. So I mean, there are exceptions. There are photographers who are legitimately famous for, you know, their work or whatever. That's obviously a different sort of kettle of fish, but you know, you'll go on YouTube and you'll see these guys who've got, you know, 200,000 followers or 10,000 followers or whatever, and you'll think, I've never heard of this person's name, and yet they're speaking about the craft with such authority that one would presume that they knew what they were talking about. But actually, when you get more experienced and you get into it, you suddenly realize that actually they don't know what they're talking about. They make up rules. There's like a formula. So what they'll do is they'll set the standard, i.e. they'll show you some of their work and they will basically say this is good, and then they'll say if you want to shoot like this, i.e. good, then this is what you need to do. And then they will spend 20 minutes, hours, various different videos, several videos, a playlist of videos telling you a load of nothing, basically, because you'll get there in front of your model or in your location ready to shoot, and then you'll pull out your camera and suddenly you realise, shit, I haven't got a clue what I'm doing. Which is a pretty crappy position to be in, because you're there, you've committed your time, energy, money, equipment, someone else's time if there's a model involved in shooting, and then you get there and you just fudge it. You have to basically wing it, which is kind of how I operate anyway, but by the by. I suppose I'm not attacking other YouTubers or anything like that. I am not a photography YouTuber. I have a photography channel where I mostly do photo shopping and stuff like that. I would never presume to speak with authority on how anyone should shoot the right way, because there is no right and wrong way. It's, if you like how I shoot and you want to learn to shoot like me, then I can teach you that. But if you want me to teach you how to get published in an international fashion magazine or something like that, every single issue of those magazines has a different theme and a different goal, and therefore a different style of shooting is required. So there is no right or wrong way, and getting published is a bit of a, once you've had it a couple of times, it's meh.
In a quarter of a mile, enter the roundabout and take the second exit onto Fareham Road.
Righto. Boo. Saturday morning-ish. It's 20 past 11, in fact. I know I got up stupidly early, but I had things to do. So, yeah, it's going to be incredibly sunny on location. So we will have to see how that pans out, but I'm pretty stoked to just be shooting, to be honest. I've come back from I've done one real shoot since I came back from a long hiatus. I shot with Dolly a couple of times. Hi Dolly, if you are watching this. That was fun, and I'm not going to say that they weren't proper shoots, because they were. You know, I paid her and we took some good shots and stuff, but being completely honest with myself, I wasn't at my best. I'd had a long break from photography then, and for one reason or another, really, there was no one specific reason. There's a lot of things going on in the industry which I didn't particularly like. I was tired, I was burned out, working a lot of hours in my last job, so I moved into the job I'm in now as a teacher, where I have a lot more free time and a lot less stress. And then my creative juices started flowing again. So that was when I thought, now is the time to get back involved, back into it. So this is really my second proper shoot back since my long break, and so yeah, I'm just stoked to be shooting at all, really. It's gonna, you know, hopefully I've got my mojo back. That's all I can say, is I don't like letting people down, and obviously the models who see the work in my portfolio, they're not interested in my personal crap, you know. They don't want to, they come to shoot with me because they want my best, which is what I'm hopefully going to deliver for Louise today, and hopefully what I delivered for Tamika a couple of weeks back. It's very easy for photographers to forget who they're shooting for. Yes, you are shooting for yourself, of course you are, but at the same time, you're not the only person in that arrangement. There's a model involved who is depending on you to provide a standard of work, which I'm pretty sure that those lights aren't in working at the moment. You know, they're depending on you to provide them with images, especially if you're working for trade. If you're doing a TF shoot, the model is depending on you to deliver, you know, a handful of images that are going to look good in their portfolio. There's no point selfishly sitting there saying, well, I got what I wanted. And I know there are a lot of photographers who do that. It's frustrating because it does kind of, it sours the water. It leaves a bitter aftertaste in the model's mouths towards TF, because they think, well, if I'm not going to get what I want out of it, then I'm going to stop shooting for trade. I'm going to insist on getting paid for my work, which is a reasonable expectation. If you're not getting compensated in the manner that you've agreed upon, then find a different kind of compensation, you know. That isn't to say that it's all one-sided. There are a lot of very silly things that some, and I say some, models do. That,
in a quarter of a mile, turn left onto A32 and then turn right.
Right, you know, there's a lot of daft things that both models and photographers do, so it's not all one-sided. You know, it always sounds like I'm bashing other photographers, but I'm not. I'm just being a pragmatist, a realist, you know. Ba-ba-ba-ba-bow. So, highly productive shoot, thoroughly enjoyed it. That was one of the first times in probably a long time where I've generally just not felt like I've had to direct someone. And it's not because I think that the models I've shot with previously have done a bad job or anything.
In a quarter of a mile, turn left onto Burzolden Road.
What it boils down to is that sometimes you'll find people, models who are used to shooting in a very specific way, and they tend to stick to that way very rigidly, and I shoot in a very specific way, and I want to shoot my way, so on and so forth. So when you find a model who thinks along the same lines as you, like
Turn left now.
So what happened just then was, had a shoot where Louise knows what her strengths are, and her go-to poses emphasize and accentuate those things. She's a very curvy model, so she makes the most of her curves. She doesn't shy away from her body shape. She owns it, is a better way, is the best way of putting it. So that's very refreshing, because it means that it makes my life a lot easier, because I'm not having to micromanage every inch of their body to get them into a pose that does that, which means I can focus on things like exposure, composition, eye contact, facial expressions, and all that sort of thing. So it's a much more relaxed way of shooting, or rather, it just makes my life a lot easier. So for someone who I haven't shot for a very long time, now this is before I've edited any of the images, I haven't looked at any of them or anything like that, so I may still have done a terrible job, or might be out of focus, I might be motion blur, all that stuff. But I'm leaving the shoot now, literally just dropped Louise off, feeling like I've achieved, you know, had a really productive shoot. So that's a really positive outcome. So yeah, I will obviously edit some images when I get back, and I probably might even tack a couple on to the end of this video, depending on how that goes. Because I tend to try and prefer to leave it for you know, I generally want to leave it for at least one day before I get properly into editing. Only because when I first started out, I would jump straight on it and I'd edit all the images that I wanted to edit, and I'd have like 10 images done by the end of the first day. And the model would be like, wow, that's amazing. It is, but at the same time, I'm not thinking with editing brain. I'm thinking with shooting brain, which is a very different brain. Sounds a stupid thing to say, but it is. You know, when you're still adrenaline, or your brain's in that shooting space, you're not necessarily making the best editorial choices. So it's good to sort of have a cool